Welcome to the Goth and the Sloth. I'm your sloth, Matt.
And I'm Luna the Goth.
This is the podcast of two friends living a country apart and burning it down from both ends. We decided to take the first year of our podcast and discuss the COVID-19 pandemic, how it affects your lives, how it affects our lives, and, why it's the worst.
Mm-hmm.
So how you been?
Not bad. It's been kind of a crazy week, so I crashed yesterday, like one of those slow motion face plant into the bed actions of just I need to sleep. So I'm feeling better today. How about you?
That's good. Yeah, about the same. Yeah, it's a bit of a crazy weekend, but some good stuff.
Good.
So yeah, let's dive into it. How's the greater Virginia area doing?
So the state of Virginia is not doing well,
Uh-oh.
but also not as bad as it has been in the past. So we're up 14,109 cases this week, and that puts us at 626,171. Our hospitalizations are also up 581,
Oof.
which puts us at 26,725. And then we have had 206 more deaths in the last week,
Wow.
which puts us at 10,360.
Hmm.
So yeah, just I think everybody's kind of seeing a little bit of a bump. I don't know if we want to call it a spike yet, but I mean the weather's nicer. Anytime I was out driving anywhere to go to work, it was it's bumping out there, so
Yeah.
I'm not really surprised. We're up to 50 cases of multisystem inflammatory syndrome in children, but we are also up to 18.1% of the state fully vaccinated, and that's up from 14.2, so that's something.
That is good.
Our positivity rate is 6.4% right now. So it's just kind of not doesn't feel good to see these numbers. Today I did take a moment to look at some of the demographics in Virginia, just because you would assume that because we do this podcast, I would have looked at this a long time ago. I didn't. But so when people said that black and brown people were disproportionately affected by the pandemic, I was like, yeah, of course. And I saw the national numbers and I saw the different things that organizations were doing, but I never looked at the numbers in Virginia itself. And according to the latest census, about 30% of the population in Virginia is non-white.
Mm-hmm.
So about 70% is white. You can do math, it's okay. But even so about 30% of Virginians are people of color. 56% of the deaths in Virginia have been people of color.
Wow.
And 92% of the cases in Virginia have been people of color. I was like, I ran the number multiple times. I was like, this, what? I'm still kind of like, what? But that's what it says. I mean, in the black community alone, they're about 20% of the population in Virginia is black, and 38.5% of all deaths are black, 42% of all cases are black. It's that disparity really caught my attention, and we're talking about more inequities today, so that's
Yeah.
why it drew my attention. Anyway,
Anywho's.
how's Colorado?
Not great as well, but not the worst thing ever. So we are at 468,121 cases, which is up 12,000 week to week, which is pretty big. 25,766 hospitalizations, which is up 500 week to week. 6,253 deaths, which is another 57 people.
Wow.
And our current positivity rate is 6.2, so just under you.
Interesting.
But in the good news is we're at 1.1 million fully vaccinated Coloradans.
Mm.
And to put that in perspective, because you kind of asked this last week, I did look it up. Colorado has roughly 5.7 million people.
Okay. That's cool.
So about a fifth-ish of people are
Getting there.
getting there. So yeah, that's looking good. Yeah, I don't know if I mentioned it last week or not, but the vaccine is fully open to the general public in Colorado. You can go get it whenever you want.
Oh, nice. Yeah, ours opens, I think, like April 19th or something like that. So soon.
Yeah. So you won't have to, but yeah, it becomes the Hunger Games. You got to play the Hunger Games.
Oh, I did.
Where you
Even though I was in an earlier group, I definitely had to play the refresh game
yeah.
to get one, and it's like, am I willing to drive 40 minutes to get the vaccine? Yes. Yes, I am.
Yes.
So yeah, I get it. But that's good.
Yeah. No, it's and it means people are grabbing them too. Like if there's a whole bunch of like open slots, that would almost be more worrying in a way.
Yeah.
If we just like had a turn where everyone's like, nah, I just don't want to.
Yeah.
And you're like, you should. So yeah, actually, just today I got my first shot. My next one's in a few
Yay!
weeks.
Welcome to
I
the
got
vaccinated.
I got that Pfizer going.
Very nice. Very nice.
So yeah, it was pretty simple. Just met a guy in a back alley, and he just told me to close my eyes and suck it out of a hose.
Okay, see, I don't know if you were vaccinated. Sounds like you've been assaulted, and you might also have COVID now. So, I think I heard, like, for me, after I got the first shot, just like most people, they were like, "Oh, my arm's sore," and my arm was definitely sore.
Yeah.
But I was talking to somebody, and he was like, "Oh, I just kept on doing like 5 push-ups every 30 minutes to make sure that like my arm was working out, and so I didn't experience any short soreness the next day." I was like, I think you'll just experience different soreness if you're
Yeah.
doing a whole bunch of push-ups. Although, I mean, that's a good idea. Like, I probably would have done it if I thought of it, because it wasn't fun to like
Yeah.
not be able to raise my arm and be like, ow.
Yeah, I would assume, that kind of keeps your muscles stretching or whatever. Yeah, I
That's
don't
how
know.
muscles work, Matt. Stretching or whatever.
Yeah.
Well,
Sounds like way
cool.
too much work. So, in other Colorado news is there are a lot of counties are raising the mask mandate on outdoor activities, only outdoor ones. And the governor did say if the county gets down to green restrictions or like green level, they're allowed to fully lift the mask mandate. So
Cool.
getting there. We'll see where we go from there. Some stuff's opening up. Baseball started, so all the Colorado people with short-term memory loss who think the Rockies are still a real baseball team keep showing up
Aw,
to.
be nice. The
I will
Rockies have
not.
been there doing baseball things for a while.
If if the Rockies were in a Disney movie, they would be at the point where they need to have like a donkey playing third base.
So,
And it'd be called Asses on Third. And
aw, go Rockies. It's okay. Who goes there to watch baseball anyway? I mean,
well, that's the whole. I don't even want to get to that whole thing, but yeah, that's built by design, so you
oh
don't
yeah.
actually watch the game. The stadium is made to not watch
I
the game.
literally watched football. Like, I watched the um, preseason. Watched NFL preseason on the top deck while the baseball game was going on behind me.
Yeah, that's
They were
that's
airing it
how.
on a TV. Like, What? I'm supposed to watch the baseball game when there's football on? Come on.
That's how they're always like in the top 5, like in ticket sales and stuff every year, even though they're like the worst team to ever become a team.
Shh. Don't be mean. They can hear you. Be nice.
Anywho's it. So yeah, sounds like summer's opening up. Knock on wood, things will happen. Um, Another good piece of good news, I noticed it when I was getting my vaccine, is there was a huge testing center right by my apartment, like just down the street in an abandoned parking lot, and that had to be closed due to inactivity. So
Ooh.
that's a positive roll
That
too.
is definitely positive. Very
So
cool. Well,
so yeah,
let's hope that that trend keeps going.
let's get there. Yeah. So how's Luna doing? What's new in Luna's world?
Well, I have some pretty awesome news this week. I am now a goth bartender.
Woot!
Woohoo! So that popped up out of nowhere, and I'm not
So
mad about
vodka
it.
and cranberries for everybody.
I mean, you're definitely gonna have to pay for them, and also tip me. But yeah,
But that's the drink you gotta know if you're at a goth bar. I mean, it's not hard,
I
but
don't know. Not at ours. It's a
interesting.
it's a little yeah, a lot of gin, which is fine. I
Gross,
mean,
but
gin's
alright,
good.
yeah. Is it
And
though?
a lot of vodka too, just not vodka cran. Um, but granted, I've only been there for one shift so far, so who knows?
Who knows?
But I'm excited to start slinging bottles around and
Yeah,
serving
very
people
awesome.
elixirs.
Eventually you'll be at the cocktail level where you can be doing flips with the bottles and
Yeah, I mean,
doing dances with Tom Cruise
oh
and, you
no,
know.
no, no, no.
Yeah.
Luckily, as bartender, I can decide who gets to stay in the bar, so Tom Cruise can see himself out. Thank you. I'm kidding. Don't sue me. It's a joke.
Very awesome though.
Yeah, that's my good news this week that I was like, rad. So hopefully it goes well. It's gonna be a while until I have my own shift, blah blah blah. But once I do have my own shift, hopefully that is a great way to save some money so that I can travel whenever this pandemic is over.
Yep.
We'll see.
It's just good. Travel's gonna be sooner than later. It's more gonna be when you feel safe because I just had a coworker who got back from Morocco, so apparently
Oh
you
yeah, we
can
can
start
travel.
doing stuff.
Um, but as we're going to talk about this week, we should be mindful when we're doing these things.
Yes.
So what about you? What's going on in your world this week?
Not a ton. Besides the shot, the band became TikTok famous.
Yeah,
Our
TikTok.
uh, our first one that we posted is roughly around 160,000 views at the moment,
Yep, that's the TikTok algorithm.
and then it dropped off very quickly after that.
That's the TikTok algorithm. Yep. They like do no, and this isn't to say that that video wasn't funny, it was. Um, but yeah, just it's so frustrating because when you first start posting, it's like, look at all the attention you're getting. Look, you're TikTok famous. It's amazing. And then they're like, what, you thought you were special?
Yeah.
It's like the worst. But TikTok is still super fun, and you should keep making videos because
Oh
eventually
yeah. No, we're
it'll
gonna keep.
come back around. Like the algorithm just cycles through, and you don't get to choose which ones go viral, but
Yep.
you'll be happy when they do.
Yeah. No, they don't cost us anything. They don't take much time. So yeah. Anytime we get together, we decided we'll post at least one, and then
That's a good rule of
whenever we
thumb. That
can.
way it's like pretty consistent.
Yep.
That's cool.
So yeah, that's been fun. And what else? That's about it. Just the things and the
Just
stuff.
banned and vaccine.
Band and vaccine. So what do we? Let's get into our main topic. What are we talking about this week?
So today we're going to talk about vaccine distribution effort around the world, and as you might imagine, it does not appear to be the most equitable rollout. Um, so you may have heard of the partnership COVAX, which is an international partnership that's led by the Coalition for Epidemic Preparedness Innovations, Gavi, the Vaccine Alliance, and the World Health Organization. And the purpose is to ensure broad access to the COVID-19 vaccine. The reason this is important, aside from the equity issue, is that the pandemic isn't over until there is a global level of herd immunity, and the vaccine is a crucial piece of that puzzle. So, to date, high income countries have purchased 56% of the vaccines produced in the world, but only represent 16% of the global population. And this, my friends, is what we call a problem.
Yep.
The problem was brought to my attention via TikTok. So, one of my favorite creators who lives in Ireland, he made a TikTok saying that it was really frustrating that his country took the pandemic super seriously. They were locked down. They weren't able to go anywhere. Like they had wanted actually strict lockdowns because it's a country where people listen to the government.
Mm-hmm.
And um and so he's just like, we're looking at, summer's around the corner, and I'm on I'm online being him. He's online looking at all of these American assholes, frankly, who don't believe the vaccine, haven't been taking it seriously, going and getting the vaccine, or they don't believe in the pandemic, but they still go get the vaccine, or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like there's all this access in the US for people to start getting the vaccine, but they're having trouble giving it to people in Ireland. And even though they took it really seriously, and he's like really in the video, he was just really frustrated in that moment in time because he was like, I Ireland, we may not be able to get the vaccine to enough people until fall, and then that means that we would have been inside all summer again, and then
Mm-hmm.
it's winter again. And I was like, ooh, yikes. So that's why I started looking into it, and just a couple weeks ago, the WHO mentioned that the chasm between vaccines distributed in rich countries versus through the COVAX program is growing more and more grotesque. And overall, only 0.1% of the vaccines have been distributed to low income countries.
Yeah.
And they're all going everywhere else. So it's some depressing but realistic news. And I think that there's a lot of reasons why no one wants to think about this, no one wants to talk about it, because it sucks.
Mm-hmm.
But also, talking about travel, like the people that um, kind of guide the travel market are rich people from rich
Oh.
countries.
Yep.
So, and the vaccine doesn't stop you from carrying the virus; it just stops you from having serious symptoms. So, it's just something I feel like people should be more mindful of as they're getting ready to travel more, because especially if you're going somewhere to a fancy resort, think about the people that live in that area. Are they being impacted by you bringing your germs?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that no one should travel. I just think that people should not act like, oh, I got the vaccine, the world is totally open, everything's totally fine. It's like, no, it's not. Like, you're kind of ignoring a massive part of the global population just because you live in one country, and that's kind of messed up.
Well, it's not only just that too, but we all depend on people constantly all the time. So you go out to a bar or whatever, even though you're vaccinated, who is the bartender, but they're now forced to be around people because you're using you're being part of that, or your waiters or all this other stuff, people are forced to be around you, and they may not have had that chance to get the vaccine yet. So there's also that part of it as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. Did you find any interesting information about individual countries, or what did you find?
So, yeah, New York Times has a tracking coronavirus vaccine page that was just updated today, and you can see how other countries are doing getting out the vaccine. So, based on percentage of the country that's been vaccinated, the U.S. is sitting at number 5, and UK, let's see, 6. They're at 14. I point them out because they've kind of been our brothers in misery throughout most of this, of also having a really inept government that ignored the whole virus for way too damn long and then botched anything else. So, yeah. um,
Yep.
so Israel is number 1 at the moment with 54% of their population fully vaccinated. Now, part of that comes with a bit of a caveat. One, they have been paying a lot of money, which they actually ran into some issues recently with paying for it, and so they're one of the richer countries, and they're kind of hoarding it. Not hoarding it per se, but also if you look at the population and how it's distributed, they're roughly about New Jersey level of population. So they don't have as many people as, say, like the U.S.
It's
But
not so much about the number of people. I mean, it depends on how they got that information for that
mm-hmm.
graph or table or whatever it is that the New York Times has. I don't know if it's per capita or how the data how they're ranked, but the main thing with Israel, like they really did like get down to business really
Yep.
fast, and
Yeah, they
they
did.
started pumping vaccines in arms. The notable thing, or the thing worth noting about Israel's vaccination effort is that Palestinians were on the bottom of the list and were not allowed to get vaccinated when
Mm-hmm.
everyone else did. And only now is it starting to open up to the Palestinian population. And that's a little messed up. It's like
Yeah.
vaccinating the higher class before the other one. And so I'm not about to sit here and praise Israel
Right.
without a
Yeah.
condition there for that.
Yeah. There's a lot of asterisks on their rollout.
Hmm.
So, kind of comparing to somewhere that's, I mean, it's still got less population as us, but how the UK, how they've been doing. So they're still in the 50 and plus age market for people who can get it, and they don't expect to open it up to the gen public until July.
Mm.
And they're currently sitting at 8.1% of their population being vaccinated. So, even though they are a richer country, they're sucking at getting it out there.
Well,
Um,
I don't know how many they've purchased. I mean,
yeah,
I don't
that's
know how
true.
much buying power they have
Yeah.
compared to the US.
Well, if they get it from anywhere inside of Europe, they're not gonna get it easily.
Yeah, exactly. The EU is like, fuck you.
Weirdly enough, a country I've never heard of is number 2 if you're going by percentage of population. Skalix. I don't know. It's an island off the coast of, or in the Somalian Sea.
Mm.
They're sitting at 39%, but their 39% is 100,000 people. So,
Right, right.
but
Yeah,
that
so
was
there's a lot to
interesting.
consider.
But yeah, like Mexico, kind of comparing it to kind of a known poor country, is way down the list of how they're doing. 0.9% of their population.
Is Mexico considered a poor country?
I think so. They're not third world, uh,
No.
but they are still. I mean,
They're
I
not
think
the
compared to
U.S., but
us,
nobody is.
yeah.
So
Um, so yeah, it really, yeah, kind of depends. Like Chile's way up at the top, Monaco as well. Some surprises, but some not surprises.
yeah,
Um, like Malta, there's a lot of rich people that go there.
yeah, but that doesn't necessarily mean it is a rich country.
This is true. But as you mentioned before, rich people will make sure that their interests are taken care of.
That doesn't necessarily mean vaccinating the poor people of a country they like to visit, but I see what you're saying. I get what you're laying down. I did notice that South Korea, as if they didn't already need to draw my attention, is a pretty cool place. I mean, I don't
Yeah.
really know much about South Korea. I just want to go really bad. Um, but they waited their turn to use the COVAX system rather than jumping ahead and
Hmm.
buying vaccines, which I thought was really interesting because they're definitely a high income country, and the WHO noted that they appreciated that they did that because the WHO also didn't call anybody out because we would have been called out.
Oh, absolutely.
But he did, the spokesperson did, or I think it was a doctor. I don't know. Someone representing the WHO was like, "Thank you, South Korea, for waiting your turn."
I mean, it is a really cool place. I've learned a lot about it. It does have its own problems too. Like no country's perfect, anyways. But
Of course, yeah.
they
But yeah, I
they've
thought that
done
that was
really
really
well
neat.
over this. Yeah, they've done a lot of good stuff. You follow a lot of what they did in the virus too. Their biggest outbreaks were all because of America. So
Yep.
you know, go us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
But yeah, I mean, I just
but yeah,
think that, like, be mindful if you're going to travel at all, first of all, please consider getting the vaccine.
yes,
And and on top of that, if you're traveling, just be mindful of how the vaccination efforts have been where you're going so that you're not getting anybody's grandma deathly ill because you wanted a beer.
yeah.
Um,
There's what are your feelings on the possible vaccine passport?
I was thinking about doing an episode on that. Um, I don't think it's a good idea, but maybe not for the same reasons that other people do. Like I do think that it's an interesting concept, and if we could do it in a good, mindful way, I would be down for it. But when you get down to the details, there's not really a way to do it in an equitable fashion. Like, if you're going to, for example, require that people who got the vaccine have an app and it keeps all of your, medical records private. All it
Hmm.
does is show that you've gotten the vaccine or not. That'd be kind of cool because then your data isn't like you're not on some giant US list of this person has these diseases and got the vaccine or whatever. Um, but there's no way to do that because there's no way people without cell phones are going to be able to partake in
Right.
anything like that. So you're still going to have a class issue where you have richer people able to use the COVID vaccine passport, and poor people unable to use it. And I don't think that we need to keep like deepening that chasm in this country. Um, and then like if it's down to having a piece of paper, well, that's easy enough to be super ineffective. So
Yeah.
I just don't think that there's a good way to do it. The concept is cool. I mean, they did that in Israel. Like
Yeah.
they had passports, and you could go to a restaurant and no one's wearing masks, and everything's great. But again, the vaccine passport was just another way to have a two-class system in an already divided country.
Yeah.
Um, because whoever, it like depends on who has access to the vaccine, who could get it, who's nearby, blah blah blah. And then if you're not, you're screwed. You don't get to have dinner with everybody with masks off. So
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It is interesting, and I know like actual like passport, like entering a country passport. Now this is years ago, maybe even decades ago. But when my uncle went to Africa, he had to prove he had certain vaccinations to enter the country. So there's been levels of this
yeah, but I would
for a
say that
while.
that's different. It's you willfully going to another country and that country saying, "We're not going to let you in our borders unless you do X, Y, and Z." This is within your own country where you are a full-fledged citizen.
Yeah.
Like you're not.
Yeah, no, that's where it does get sticky for sure.
Yeah, I think it's different when you're visiting somewhere and you are there by their grace
Hmm.
versus living in your own country where you are full-blooded American, whatever, citizen, and you have rights as per the Bill of Rights, and people are going to start being like, well, you know,
Yep.
you can't do stuff like that. That's a little.
Now, do you think they can just program the microchips so you can just scan people, and then
I
you'll know
mean,
they'll have the vaccine?
if it's in there already, go for
Yeah.
it. Like, what am I gonna do? I can't find it. I don't know where it is, bopping around. It might be by my spleen, might be in my toe. Who knows? So, if they can scan your little microchip, you do your worst at that point.
So yeah, interesting stuff on other countries and how sometimes panic brings out the worst in everybody, including countries.
And by sometimes, we mean
Always.
always. Yeah, I don't know. I think there's not really any like, let's tie this up in a bow of hope and happiness. Essentially, don't be a dick.
Yeah,
That's all we can ask. People are going to be dicks. Try not to be one of them.
that's true. So yeah, let's move on to our distractions. What are we doing to distract ourselves from at least a few more months of hopefully being quarantined?
So this week I've been distracting myself with bottle witch madness because that's what I'm calling myself now. I'm sure I'll
All right.
change it every week. But in my head, I'm like, ooh, time to practice the bottle witchery. Like just like pouring pour drills and just remembering different like recipes and trying to remember the menu because it's a full food menu as well. It's not just drinks. Um, so yeah,
Okay.
I've just been like, whenever I have time, I'm just thinking about executing all the stuff, which is cool.
Very
It's
cool.
fun to have something to think about.
Can I get a Manhattan?
I mean, you could get a Manhattan if you get your ass over here. Yeah. I'm not making a Manhattan and sending it to you. That's what I'm saying. Unless you pay for shipping and you put a big ass tip on that. What about you? What are you distracting yourself with?
Well, trying to get the band's TikTok. So actually been TikToking so it knows it's an active account. Because you also do need to watch other ones, or your account will, frail and die. So finding some interesting stuff on there. It's funny you mentioned finding info about COVID on TikTok, because I found one interesting too. Is a person debunking the deaths because of COVID are only high because the population has raised, and yeah, the amount of people that died in 2020 is more than the people that died in the previous 5 years to that. 1 year beat the previous 5 years. That is not a regular growth increase.
Yeah, that's silly. That's a silly claim.
It's still there, man. Everyone
Yeah, I
still
know.
does that. On top of that, I got a new Lego kit. I haven't started it yet, but I'm very excited.
What'd you get?
I got a lunar lander. So just like the one
Cool.
we saw when I was out there.
Yeah.
So very excited to get to that. It's an expert level. I don't know what that means, but we'll see if I
Ooh,
end
so
up
you've never done
tossing it
an
against the
expert
wall.
level before?
I don't know. I'd have to see what the Batmobile is rated because that had some parts where it was like, what's happening now?
That's so cool. Oh, I'm so
So
jealous. I
excited to
still
get
have
that going.
I mean, it would take me literally 30 minutes to finish the Paris thing, but I'm just like, I don't want it to be over.
There. I do have to paste mine out too because yeah, when it's done, you're like, well, I can't drop another $200 on another one at the moment
No.
because they just released a new space shuttle one. But yeah, I think it's like $500 right now.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Okay. God damn.
There's also a Batwing from the Tim Burton Batman movies that would be a perfect companion piece to my Batmobile. But I believe
Oh.
that one's still like $300 or $400 too.
Oh my
And I'm
God.
like,
By the end of the pandemic, you're gonna have like several things hanging from your ceiling.
I have
Like
this. I have
different
the
Lego things.
International Space Station right there. So yeah, I'm excited to start that. That'll be good. And then, watching a bunch of shows, bunch of new shows kicked off, like the new Mighty Ducks show on Disney Plus.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
it's
How's it
uh,
going?
it's a lot of fun. It's very much ducks, which if you like the Mighty Ducks movies and you know the spirit of that, you'll enjoy it. If you can't get into that cheesiness level, you're not gonna enjoy it.
That's fair.
So, also the one I mentioned before, Invincible, so good. It's really freaking good.
I haven't started it yet. I saw the animation style, and you said that it would be like that, and I just was like, oh, I need to be in the mood to watch this. So
So yeah,
I haven't
just
started it
if
yet.
you, I'd say if you're not into it by the end of the first episode, you may not be into it. But you have to watch the entire first episode. Like you have to get all the way to the end, and I
Okay.
guarantee it'll pull you in. The ending of the first episode, it throws you through a loop. It's great.
You heard it here, folks. He guarantees that it will pull us in. If you
Yes.
don't like it, contact him, not me.
Then of course, Falcon and Winter Soldier still on that kick. And what else movies to watch?
This
Oh,
last episode of Falcon Winter Soldier was the best. So if you were sleeping
right?
on this show, now's the time.
Yeah. No, that was some good stuff. Mianpor, yeah, Mianpor, which is funny because that's the island they went to. That's one of those comic places I've never heard said out loud, and I'm like,
Oh, that's funny.
oh, that's how you say it,
Yeah.
or
It's like seeing
Meandrapor,
Hermione
yeah,
on Harry Potter and like hearing them say it, and you're like, what?
yeah, or like the True Brewery here, who they spell it all like Viking-ish e and with all that, and it doesn't look like True, but I don't even know how I say it in my brain, but when I hear someone say True, it takes me a second. Oh yeah, I know which one.
I don't I don't get that one. It says true. Anyway, go
It's
ahead.
got a V in it. True doesn't have a V in
Yeah, but
it.
it's a V. It's a old ass U. What? Anyway, it's okay.
So, anyways, yeah, that was awesome. Then, oh, I gotta tell you about this one. So, I'm doing my Brad Pitt kick, right, and watching all his movies. So, this one came up. It looked real dumb, but it's like I'm gonna get through it. It's a rom com from the '80s where it takes place in college, and the straight laced guy who's gonna go to college to study ends up accidentally getting roomed with a girl who's
Oh Lord.
wacky.
Oh jeez.
And I sat through the whole thing. Brad Pitt had one line in the entire goddamn movie. It's like I didn't even
Hey,
have to watch this one.
that's what you get for your completionist ass attitude.
And it's true.
You end up watching those one line weird movies.
I was like, he's gonna come back, right? Like that, he's gonna return. It's gonna be he's nope, he's gone.
Nope, you just watch this movie for one line of Brad Pitt that you could have seen on YouTube.
Yep.
Good job.
So yeah, Happy Together from 1989. Do not suggest.
Good, thanks. I don't think I was in danger of watching that one, but now I will be sure to avoid it.
Alrighty. So let's move to our most famous part of our podcast. Only in a pandemic.
Major civil unrest.
Stories that can only happen in a pandemic and or major civil unrest. What do you got for us?
So, I've talked about skincare before, but only in pandemic does this start to be like what the girls get together to talk about. Like nobody was talking to each other. Like you might be like, "Oh, what do you use on your face?" or whatever. And now it's like a full blown like, "What do you use for your toner? What are you using in the morning? What are you using at night? How do you use this serum? What do you think of this serum versus this one? Is the retinol thing a bullshit?" Blah blah blah. Like it's just turned into like a thing, and everybody's starting to take care of their skin, and I'm here for it. I think
Yeah.
everybody should take care of their skin. Um, but I just think it's funny, and like especially because the last stimmy came in, a lot of people are like, "Oh, which serum should I get?" And, it's really cool. I like that it's a thing that we're all like everybody's gotten reached the skincare part of their pandemic
Yeah.
at different times. And so like as more people are like, "Oh, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna start the skincare thing." You're like, "Welcome. Here's everything we've been talking about for the last year." Yeah, it's pretty great.
I haven't gotten to the skincare, but I'm doing the hair care thing.
All
Because I've
right.
been growing out my hair, but mine is super curly, but not curly like your curly. It's frizzy curly. So I've been trying different hair straightening shampoos to see if
You
that'll
gotta
help.
embrace the curl.
But it,
That's I'm
but then it
telling you.
doesn't get long. It just piles on itself like Beavis from Beavis and Butt.
Well, I mean, if you want to straighten your hair, straighten your hair. But yeah, like I think the thing that's another whole like pandemic thing, like curly haired people embracing their curly hair and realizing, oh, if I use this in a diffuser, I can have luscious curls. But yeah, it's funny. Everybody's kind of getting reaching different phases of
Yeah.
pandemic at different times, which is kind of cute. Well, what's your only in a pandemic story?
Only in a pandemic are people so raring to argue with you that they throw in anti-COVID comments on a completely COVID-free post.
Really?
Yes. So I've
People
been
are so
doing.
sad and lonely.
They are. So yeah, I've been doing my annual yelling at every Rockies post because that's what I do. Because they're not going to get better unless people stop going.
Stop it.
I
You're
will
so
not.
mean. That's not
And that's
nice. Leave the Rockies alone.
I will not. I'd say no one should go to any games until they win 2 World Series. Then they're allowed to get fans again.
What?
The
No.
Marlins started the exact same year as the Rockies, and they got 2 World Series. So,
Leave them alone. They're fine. They're fine. They have purple outfits. It's cute.
and that's the other thing that actually makes me mad is they have the best color scheme out of any Colorado team, and they're wasting it.
Oh my gosh.
Anyways, but yeah, it's just mostly a post of like, yeah, don't go because they're not going to get better until they learn fans won't go to their games until they're a good team. And that's all it said. And some people
Uh-huh.
laugh, some people whatever. And one guy's like, well, people just need to ignore this very easily survivable virus. Like,
What?
this is a Wendy's, sir.
What? That's so
Right?
weird.
It's like nothing had anything to do with COVID here. This is just a baseball talk.
Oh my god.
I didn't even want to get into how that math. I mean, yeah, the 1% thing. We've talked about that a million times on here, where that's still a lot of people. I didn't even want to get into that. I'm just like, sir, this is a Wendy's.
Oh man, people are so weird.
They're just so raring to jump on stuff sometimes.
It's true. Well, it's like they're just looking for the opportunity to be like,
Yeah.
meh.
Where, yeah, it's like anything that could possibly relate. I'm going to jump right on that. I'm going to own these libtards.
I hope you rolled your eyes really hard.
Oh, yeah. Like,
Okay, good.
what? So, yeah, that was funny. Can't even talk baseball without Wrights jumping in about how the virus is fake and we need to not worry about it.
Oh my gosh. I hope that at some point they realize how stupid they sound.
Judging from TikTok, no, I don't think it's gonna happen.
Yeah, exactly.
When they post a thing about how they're not gonna get the vaccine because they can track you on a phone, where they made this video where you can track people using the phone very easily.
You know this app is from China, right?
Everyone's worried about Bill Gates giving them the microchip through a vaccine, but Steve Jobs sold us all a microchip that tracks us, and we all bought it
Yep,
with smiling faces.
100%.
Fun stuff. All right. So let's wrap this up with our Leonardo DiCaprio level on how big of a hermit we are. A 10 being Howard Hughes. You've been locked in a theater completely by yourself for months on end, and you haven't cut your hair or nails in 4 months. That is a true story that Howard Hughes did because he went real bad for a while. Yeah. Anyways. Or are you a 1 and you are the Wolf of Wall Street and you're partying with all your buddies in the office and you're doing coke off of hookers' asses?
I am a 7 again this year. Or
This year?
week. This week. Because I did have to go down to the bar for a training shift, so I saw humans. But other than that, I was holed up, so I feel like that balances out
There you
a little
go.
bit. So, yep. I guess I'll have to be around people more.
Uh-oh.
But they'll give me money.
That might be
So,
worth it.
what about you? What's your hermit level?
I'd say probably almost a 5.
What?
That's like way up there, yeah.
Well, it
Yeah.
was Easter weekend. That makes sense.
Exactly, yeah. We had a family birthday party, and it's the first we've had in over a year. It was my cousin's backyard, and everyone wore masks and all that fun stuff. Half of us have been vaccinated fully at that point too. But yeah, no, it was good to get around people for a bit. We launched off some model rockets in a park. That was fun. And then on top of that, I had band practice, and then I don't know if between recording or not, I did go to my parents' house too. I can't remember. Things all blend in all the time.
I think you did,
Yeah.
but I don't know.
I don't know. It feels like I've been around a lot of people recently. And then, yeah, today, I mean, wasn't around people because I don't talk to people in public, but waiting for the vaccine today, there was not a lot of people, but there was people.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, kind of been out there a bit. So, it's coming back. We're slowly
Cool.
creeping back. So yeah, where can people find us at if they want to, ask a question or just say what's up?
Well, you can find us at Goth and Sloth on Instagram and Twitter, and you can email us at gothandsloth@gmail.com. And if you want to find me, you can find me at LUNA_MINUIT at Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok.
Yes.
What about you?
I am Wizard_Matt on Twitter and Wizard Cosplay on the Instagram. My band is Leonardo. We are Leonardo Band on Facebook, SoundCloud, Teespring, where you can purchase a shirt. I know Luna already did. We're also on TikTok as Leonardo Band. It's some really funny, good stuff. And if you're in the Colorado area, we are playing Herman's Hideaway on April 11th. So come check that out. And my channel's Matt the Pharaoh Wizard, where I have my ranking of all the Fast and Furious movies. I finally did that, the full reason I watched all of them. And I'll have another video up very soon. So yeah.
Cool. Well, awesome. Thank you for tuning in to another episode, and wash your hands.
And wear your mask.